100 today, 90 miles south of Cuba. Tropical Storm Idalia continues to gather strength. It will become a hurricane today, and it is forecast to reach landfall as a major hurricane, a Category 3. I think it's important to point out, if we were sitting here 3 days ago, a lot of people thought it would end up being a tropical storm. Then they said, well, maybe a Category 1. Then yesterday it was, oh, maybe it'll hit Cat 2. Now there really doesn't seem anything to prevent it from continuing to strengthen. And we've seen this before with something like Hurricane Michael that continued to gather strength. So this is going to be a major impact, and Floridians should expect that this storm will be a major Cat 3 plus hurricane. So please prepare accordingly. The National Hurricane Center currently has hurricane watches in effect for the Gulf Coast from Sarasota County all the way up to Franklin County in northwestern Florida. And this track, if you look at how the models are, there's a general agreement on the track that it's going to take. There's a lot of agreement that it's going to be, somewhere between north of Tampa and Tallahassee. But anything that wobbles with this storm could change that. So pretty much anybody on the west coast of Florida, you can see major impacts. And so please prepare accordingly. We did submit a pre-landfall declaration to the federal government last night. We anticipate that will be approved. I have expanded our state of emergency, the executive order, to include 13 additional counties. So that'll be 46 that are under a state of emergency, of course, on the Gulf Coast, but also as you look at the track of that storm, you're going to see northern Florida, north central Florida, northeastern Florida counties affected as well. So all of those counties are under a state of emergency. Our state EOC is operating at a level 1, 24-hour operations. This is what we do. Now, all counties in the path of Idalia should have their emergency operations centers activated now. Please request aid from the state as soon as possible. There's a relatively limited window here. If you request aid, Kevin and his team are going to get it to you. But if you wait until 6-8 hours before the storm hits, it's going to be much more difficult to make that happen. So tell us what your needs are, submit those requests, and Kevin and his team are going to work to fill those requests as expeditiously as possible. Evacuation orders. I urge Floridians to heed the admonitions and heed the directives from your local officials. There are going to be evacuation orders issued in all these Gulf Coast counties in the A and B zones. All the barrier islands, places that are low-lying on the coast, you are going to be told to evacuate. So just understand that, and that'll be true probably from Pinellas, maybe even Manatee, all the way up through the Big Bend. Keep in mind, if you're told to evacuate, you do not need to drive hundreds of miles. You do not need to leave the state of Florida. You basically need to go to higher ground. Almost every instance, you can go tens of miles to a shelter, to a hotel, to a friend's house, whatever works for you, and you'll be able to ride out the storm. The key is to not be in those areas that are going to be hit with big-time storm surge and that are going to potentially have life-threatening situations. And so tens of miles, not necessarily need hundreds of miles, and the more people that do a more limited evacuation, more local evacuation, you're not going to have the highways and the roads clogged. So it's not necessary to try to outrun the storm. Just get to higher ground, get in a structure that is going to be able to handle the hurricane, ride it out, and then you'll be able to go back to your property and inspect whatever damages. So more local evacuations. You do not need to flee to Alabama, Georgia. You don't need to drive hundreds and hundreds of miles. Now, fuel. We have 35 bobtails and 15 tankers of fuels are en route to Central Florida, 2 pre-stage with a couple 100,000 gallons of fuel. We had limited fuel interruptions with Hurricane Ian, but you never know how that works, so we want to be able to have fuel to be able to get that back on target as soon as the storm passes. We have 7 urban search and rescue teams ready to deploy to impacted areas, and of course we have Florida Highway Patrol, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Florida Fish and Wildlife, all those folks will be ready to go. So as soon as that storm passes, they will be on the ground helping out Floridians. We have 2,500 guardsmen and airmen that are pre-staged, but 3,000 more are currently being mobilized and are on the way for a total of 5,500. And they'll have at their disposal 2,400 high-wheel vehicles, 12 aircraft. Kevin is also requesting through the EMAC additional rotary wing assets from other states, and we anticipate that those requests will be fulfilled. Schools. Hernando County schools are closed today, Citrus and Levy tomorrow. There will be more counties to come in terms of school closures, and so parents just understand that that's coming down the pike. That, of course, is a local decision that will be made on a district-by-district basis, but I think people should anticipate school closures along the Gulf Coast of Florida for both Tuesday and Wednesday, and perhaps even beyond that. Power. There are tens of thousands of linemen that will be staged, and resources will be staged, and they will be surged to the impacted areas. The goal is to get the power restored as quickly as possible. Floridians in the path of this storm, just be prepared to lose power. This is going to come in, if it's Cat 3 plus, there's going to be a lot of trees that are going to get knocked down. There's going to be a lot of debris that is going to interrupt the power lines. So just understand that is something that's going to happen. These linemen will be ready to go and connect again. Now, some of the companies that do this very routinely, like Florida Power and Light or Duke, they have what they need. They're going to do. Some of the smaller outfits, municipal outfits, county outfits, please accept mutual aid. Please accept these linemen to come help and accelerate the power restoration. It matters. It makes a big difference. Even in a storm like Hurricane Ian, as damaging as that was, the vast majority of people, even in Southwest Florida, did not suffer a catastrophic loss. And so to get all those people back on as soon as possible, it makes the recovery so much more impactful, so much more effective. So those folks are there. They're going to be surged. And if you're in one of those outfits, please accept the mutual aid right at the beginning. And also, please have a plan that as soon as that storm goes, have a sense of urgency to have your folks go and get the power restored. I can tell you the places that did that after Ian, it worked a lot better. When there was a delay, then just people get frustrated. So we believe that time is of the essence when it comes to power restoration, and we have the folks available that can be helpful. Generator safety. We've had a lot of new people move to Florida over these last many years. Some got their first taste of a hurricane last year with Ian, but we've had many people move in even since Hurricane Ian. When you're using a generator, you cannot run your generator inside your house. You could die with carbon monoxide poisoning. So it's got to be outdoors only, and it needs to be at least 20 feet away from the windows and from the doors, and the exhaust needs to be pointed away from your home. So please operate the generator properly. We've had throughout the years in Florida generators operating in people's garages or even people's homes, and it's just not something that's going to work, and it could definitely be deadly. So generator safety. Kevin is going to come up and provide an update from the EM perspective. Wilton Simpson's also going to come up and provide an update on the gas situation emanating out of the port of Tampa with the diesel. All Floridians, you need to be executing your plans now. I mean, this storm is scheduled to come probably sometime on early Wednesday. And there's different times when it could come that maybe the storm surge wouldn't be as bad if it's at low tide, and so we'll hope that that's the case. But you're in the home stretch right here. So go to floridadisaster.org/get-a-plan, floridadisaster.org/get-a-plan. This is going to be a major hurricane. This is going to be a powerful hurricane, and this is absolutely going to impact the state of Florida in many, many different ways. So please heed the directives from your local officials. Please make the appropriate accommodations and take the appropriate precautions. We'll have all these people there. They're going to be able to help everyone get back on their feet. But you got to do what you need to do to protect yourself and your family on the front end. Okay, Kevin.